Hello, guys, and welcome back to the All Around Sorare podcast. Today, our special guest is SorareMonkey or SRMonkey on Twitter. How are we, buddy? We good?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's an absolute pleasure, mate. It's a pleasure. So, obviously, I don't know if you've seen the podcast before, but the way we go about it is that we go from Sorare to football, maybe some little in-depth questions about yourself and your journey. So, I like to always start off because obviously this is so rare. I like to start off with how and why so rare. What introduced you? How did you get into it, etc.
I've played loads of fantasy games for, I guess, best part of 25 years. And I played Football Index for a while, then moved over and got out of that because the community was toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Started playing, what was it, Footstock, which I really enjoyed. Started doing some content on that. Really enjoyed that, but that's went tits up. And a couple of the guys that I knew quite well on Footstock started playing So Rare. So I'd actually registered in 2020,
Yeah.
but didn't actually start playing until Footstock went tits up in, when was it? About March or something, like 2021. And then immediately bought my first card on So Rare. And that was just after the Gary V boom, unfortunately.
And who was? Do you remember your first ever purchase?
I don't. It would have been someone from probably from the JLK League. I think the first card I ever bought, I sold fairly quickly. Second card I ever bought, I paid a huge amount for, and he did his ACL the next weekend.
Oh,
And then he
that's
actually came back at the end of that season,
yeah.
and then did the start of the next season, did his tore his Achilles.
Oh, that is so unlucky. That is so
I've had his
unlucky.
card for like 2.5 years, and I've probably not used it in more than one lineup.
I hate those injury-prone players, but it's what was it? Do you remember the scarcity? Did you just go just limited, or did you go balls deep
No,
and go
this was
to?
before limited, so rare.
Oh, right, gotcha. Yeah, no problem. So yeah, rares now. So now, obviously, you've been playing for So Rare for quite a while. Have you sort of pushed it into? I don't know if you have any like daughters or any, or any like any family members that you sort of pushed it across to that play it now.
Not really, no, no. Trying to think, but most of my friends are not even interested in stuff like FBL. So my brother, I probably would have got to play it, but he's based out in Hong Kong, and I don't really see him that much. So if I ever spent some time with him, I'd probably get him to try and play it. But yeah, not really, no. None of them have got much interest in that sort of stuff. So
Yeah. Okay.
what
What
about
about?
you guys? Do you have brothers or family friends or stuff like that that play it?
I've tried. I've tried to using the link, but he's they never seem to really click with it. And this will be a subject I'd like to talk to you about very soon, actually, in regards to the simplicity of Sober itself. What about you, Jonesy? Before I ask these sort of questions,
No, I haven't got any brothers or sisters, so I've not really. Some of my friends have got involved, but it's getting them to actually buy the five limiteds on the market and get them right into it. As much as you coach them, sometimes they just don't want to put the time in.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
that's the issue. And like I said, if I go back on my point just before, which I'm going to come to you now, Monkey, in a sec, is that I do feel like So Rare they've taken the right direction, the right step in the right direction. That is with the rivals thing. Obviously, when you're first given it now, you're given like a tutorial and showing how it works and what to do, etc., which is also good. I also feel like they need to implement that into the normal pro, SO5 side of things as well. Like I don't know about you guys, but I've asked this before, especially to you, Jones, is that do you know what a triple double is, or do you know what is considered a missed a long pass or or an interception? Like I know these are quite obvious in our heads what they are, but in terms of so rare, sometimes I'll be watching a player and they intercept and they not get given it, or a last man tackle, or a clearance off the line. These major decisive actions that can happen during a game. So that's one of my frustrations. Are there any frustrations that lie with you guys with So Rare?
Well, not. I mean, not, you sort of. I've played enough fantasy games over the last 20 years that, like, you sort of expect some actions to be missed. Opta are, they're going to get some things wrong, and unfortunately, there's not a lot we can do about that.
Yeah.
But I think, like, in my mind, I know what all of the scoring statistics are within the system now. But it took me a long time to work out what they were,
Yeah.
and there's nowhere obvious to find out. Like even Opta don't have like a site which describes every single action. You would have thought that'd be fairly sort of straightforward for them.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it, and that's something I've proposed. I've said on this channel quite a few times, is bringing in some sort of tutorial, whether it's on Sorare or like you said on Opta itself, where you can just click on it and it'll be like, right, what is classed as a long pass, and it'll show you a distance. It'll show you like an example clip of like for 3 seconds, you know what I mean, or something like that. But yeah, what about you, Jonesy?
Yeah, I think Opta is the bane of most Sorare people's experience, Sorare players' experience. It still is mine, but in regards to the matrix, scoring matrix, yeah, it does take a while to learn. You have to really dig in and try and learn each section out and try and get the best players for each stat, really. It's a difficult one, especially for new users. We've discussed it before, haven't we, that it needs might need updating or it needs a serious tutorial going alongside it.
Yeah, and again, this is something I asked you the other night, Mikey, is that I thought, what is one in and one out if you have any to bring to Sorare to make it a bit user friendly, let's say, because obviously we've been here for a while now. Like I said, it took you quite a while just to learn the ins and outs of it all, triple double, and all these other little bits and bobs that go with Sorare. What can they do differently? Like I said, one in, one out.
I think during the onboarding process of users, they need to have like a segment explaining like the different stats or somewhere that's easily accessible. Like if, on the website, if you just click on triple double, it has a little pop-up and just triple double is where, a user gets 2 of these stats and stuff like that. I think that would be a start. But I think that their site has developed quite a lot over the last sort of, 12 months probably, but it loads over the last few months. And I think that it's actually in a place now where like having those sort of things would be a little bit easier. But whether they do it or not, I don't know.
Yeah. Jonesy, what you
Yeah,
mean?
completely agree. Completely agree.
Yeah. Like I said, it's echoing a lot of what we said before, so I'm sure people feel mutual about the idea also. But I was going to ask actually, because like I said, with the whole rivals thing itself, I mean, I think they've done a phenomenal job so far. With the whole aspect of it, the onboarding process with it, how you're able to purchase cards, so it entices people to start a limited gallery or just a couple of just to kickstart a gallery in general. What do you think about the whole rivals thing and you're both of you again?
What do I think about it right now, or
Yeah.
in
What
terms
what
of
do you
like?
what do you think? And is there anything you would sort of like add to it or whatever?
I think as a product, it's quite fun. I think the ability to sort of climb leaderboards. I think I'd love to see them announce something for like winners of the individual leaderboards and stuff like that. I think I can't remember. I was listening to someone or speaking to someone the other day, and they were saying they'd love to see it so that they do monthly tournaments on there, and maybe yearly tournaments or something. The person that's at the top at the end of the year or something like that, and you have different levels. So you've got like the top level, so the people that are on whatever points it is now, 300, 300 to 400, the person that's at the top of that at the end of the month, or the person that's at, just at the top of the leaderboard every month would get a prize or something. But as a game itself, I think it's pretty easy to pick up. I think, like, again, the tactics, they're a bit better explained now. Like, the Gioga Bonita, like contest one. What's the difference in a contest one and a duel one? Well, unless you've played so rare for a while, you may not know that difference, but it does describe that a little bit better now, although I think you probably still do with improving. But I think as an onboarding like thing, it's quite good. What I don't like is at the moment is that like a lot of the people at the top of the tables are people that just don't own any cards. Like there's no incentive to buy cards to play it at the moment.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate, could that not be a good thing also to see that people that the top half of the leaderboard isn't flooded with people who have massive galleries. Is that something to maybe consider? Might be like could be a good thing potentially as well, because obviously yes, you're right in the sense of there's no incentive to buy, but hopefully, like you said, there could be an incentive to be rewarded, and so that's when instead of the onboarding process being we're going to entice them with buying players, it could be winning players, and then they're selling, and then they can buy who they want, and it sort of have a sort of domino effect that way. Again, what do you think to this, Jonesy, for this as well?
I like the new rivals process. I like that you can get rewards from it as well. It's a nice change. I said to you that they need to give out rewards in it to keep it going.
Yeah.
And obviously you don't. I know you're battling every other player, but if you have already bought a card, you've got the advantage already over players that are just coming in and not buying cards. You get a 20% boost if you've got a stack of players. You know, for example, I've got the Tigris stack, and I can throw those in. I might come up against somebody that's got maybe one limited player or sometimes none at all. So you've got the advantage there, and obviously if you win consecutive matches, you've got a chance of winning cards as well. And obviously the mystery jersey, there was also a bit of an incentive. So I've seen 2 people now on Twitter come out with the mystery jersey, which is quite cool. But yeah, I like the new process. I'll try and play it as much as I can, really, and see what happens. But I think eventually it will sort of die down. It won't start this forever.
No, I agree. I think that, at the moment, you said if you play your Tigris stack, you might come up against somebody who plays one Tigris card. It doesn't really work like that at the moment. So if you play just common cards, you'll only play someone who has common cards. And if you play 5 pro cards, you're most likely to come up against someone with at least 4 or 5 pro cards. So that's partially why the system is sort of a little bit wonky at the moment, and why because people, that are good at playing DFS but are just starting out and don't own any cards, well, they're going to do pretty well, and they've risen to the top of the leaderboard. If they played 1 or 2 pro cards, they might start coming up against somebody that's playing like, a unique and a super rare or something like that. So it's a bit wonky at the moment, but I agree with you that it's good having new people at the top, and you don't want same old people, but then there has to be an incentive to keep playing it, and there has to be an incentive to buy cards. So
No, of course.
Is there a minimum amount that you can put in to someone else that puts in? So I put in 2 players for one of the AFCON games, but I came up against somebody with a full common team, and I had 2 limited. And I
that would depend on how many people are actually playing that game, and sometimes there might be loads of people with commons, and so there's going to be some, very rarely you'll come up against a guy that's got more rares. Like I played 2 limiteds and I got a person with 1 limited. But if you play just commons, you'll only come up against people with commons.
Right, okay.
99% of the time, but it will depend on how many people have entered that tournament.
But I don't mind that. Like I said, even when I put my Tigris stack, I had 4 and the other person only had 2. So I don't know, it's just a balance, isn't there? But obviously if you've got a full stack or something, you're going to throw it in, aren't you? There's no negative side to you putting them in rivals. I'm not saying you can't put it in pro and rivals at the same time. So, you've got the cards, chuck them in.
If I was to, I'm thinking of this sort of rawly as you guys are speaking. Like, I play other little crypto games. So, like for example, I play a platform called Splinterlands, and I play that on the odd occasion. And the way it sort of works is that you go up these sort of leagues. So you go from bronze to silver to gold to diamond and all the way to the very top. But in order to sort of get one up on people, as you progress through the stages, you find people have better and better cards. And in order to keep up with that, you need to be able to buy to be able to really sort of stay afloat in that sort of league. So maybe something like that can be introduced, you know what I mean? Like a sort of ranking system where it's just like from bronze all the way to, platinum or whatever they want to call it. Could you think something like that could work?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think they do sort of have different leaderboards at the moment within there that you move up, but they're not really obvious, and they call them weird names like hometown hero and stuff like that. But maybe if they did call them sort of more easily identifiable sort of leaderboards, then it would be more obvious which divisions you're in and stuff like that.
Yeah. And as a whole, how are you guys actually getting on in your actual rival arena side of things?
I mean, at the moment, I'm not really, I've played maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 games or something like that. And to start off with, I was just putting in my pro cards. But then I realized that if I put in like a team of pro cards, then I would come up against potentially like people with super rares and uniques and stuff like that.
Right.
So now I'm just playing commons, but I do get a bit bored playing commons because I want to play my cards.
Yeah.
So, maybe they've made some alterations to the algorithm this week. So I'll have a play around with it again this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like it. I mean, I did really well in the beta. In the beta, I got to like #1 in the world.
Yeah.
Admittedly, there was only like 7, 8 thousand people playing, but
Yeah.
I quite enjoy a challenge, and I'm sure I'll get back into it. But I'm trying to sort of concentrate on the pro side, and I've got loads of decisions I need to make on the pro side. So
What about you, Jonesy? How you getting on there, mate?
Yeah, I'm like on 180 points, I think. I'm still trying to get that fifth consecutive win. That's where I'm struggling. I've got the three, I've got the one. That's I just want the box with the five now. So yeah, I've had a couple of players out of it. I've had two like tier fives out of the boxes, so I got a card at least, which I'm happy about. But yeah, it's going well. We'll see how it gets on this weekend with a few of my stacks and see what happens.
That's good. Well, you brought up a nice little point there to go into somewhere else. Like, I don't know why I've really brought up this rivals things because I've lost 4 on the bounce. My rivals arena. I don't know if you ever seen it. I do a series basically called Draft Wars. It's essentially the same thing and the same ideology with behind rivals. And I haven't lost for like I don't know what it was, Joe, like 11 games or something like that. I've been doing really well, and then the minute I come on rivals, I'm losing by literally points. To people on rivals, so that's not the greatest. So I don't want to. I want to quickly move on from that, if you don't mind. But you said about the loot boxes. How do you guys feel about that? Because Jonesy, I know you a few weeks ago you were totally against the idea. Monkey, I don't know for you if you are pro it or again if you're going to think the same way as Jonesy, where he's very much like people deserve like actual rewards, as opposed to percentages and chances and almost like gambling side of things. Like again, what's your takes on it?
I think loot boxes have a place in the game. I just think that I don't know whether you guys got the question, the survey they sent out recently, or they've sent a couple out recently. But there was one that said, "Do you think loot boxes should be in every tournament?" I would be absolutely livid if they put them in every tournament. But I've got no problem with them being in capped, like in the way that they've already got it set up within cap, like within 270. Like if you do well at the top, then you do get a card and a decent card.
Yeah.
But rather than handing out tier 4s and tier 5s, handing out loot boxes because unless tier 4s and tier 5s generally are a bit of shite, you don't really want to win them, and there's not a lot that you can do with them. Sometimes you'll get a gem, and I've got loads of cards that I've kept because I think, and if they're young, sometimes you hold on to them. But generally, I would rather win, boosts and stuff like that, and strengthen my better cards, or the chance of winning a shirt maybe, or something like that. But yeah, so I think they've got a place in the game.
Yeah.
I just don't think they can't replace everything within the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree. Maybe I would maybe even go one step further and keep it just in rivals. Try and keep the hype for rivals there. We're just having it in there. Maybe do the thing they've been doing at the moment, one game mode every month or so within caps, and maybe cap 220 next month gets the loot boxes as well, and then cap 240 the next month gets loot boxes, and just keep switching it between those 3 cap modes. But yeah, try and keep it in rivals as much as possible. I think that's bringing up the sort of the new player base. Because obviously, if you're playing it for free and you earn a card, you've got more of a chance of going into the pro side, haven't you? If you earned a free 1 or 2 cards out your first 2 loot boxes, you might want to try and build a team. So yeah, my view, keep it in rivals and maybe stick it in one cap mode every month or so.
Yeah. Okay. And obviously, the other news, guys, was obviously you probably saw it. It was yesterday was the whole PayPal deposits now available as well in USD, which I think is another good step and another sort of market they can really face, especially that they got MLB and the NBA Do you know what I mean? So have you dabbled into? I know you've dabbled into. I think you've done baseball and basketball. Have you not?
Yes, I have. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And how's that?
Yeah,
How's that
no,
been for you?
I really like the baseball. In fact, I'll probably do that again next season. But with the NBA, I just found that I was staying up so late, like, and I had to be so switched on, I can't remember what is it, Monday and Thursday or Monday and Friday evenings or whenever it was,
Right.
to try and sort of make sure that, you have to get the right players for lock and stuff like that. So I just found it so time consuming doing that. It really sort of detracted from and really sort of struggling to get enough sleep and stuff. So I don't think I'd do NBA again. But MLB, I love it. I love the fact that you can go into the last night of a tournament, and you could be, well behind the lead and you can still catch them up if your players have blinders that day.
Right, okay, yeah, because for me, I know I get the basic premises of baseball, but all in all, like, I remember I went to watch the New York Yankees quite a few years ago, and to be honest with you, I more or less went for just saying I've been, as opposed to what I actually saw, because I didn't really understand the rules of baseball. Is it quite? I'm guessing is it quite simple? Is it quite intricate?
I think once you get to know it, it's quite simple. Like
Yeah,
a couple of the American guys, like Trippin B, and MLS
yeah,
Card Guy, I think it helped me out quite a bit right at the start.
yeah.
So I got into watching it, but like a lot of things, I'll just stick it on the TV and go about my business and maybe set my pro lineups for football and stuff like that. And you know, it's one of those things that it's not like a football match where you can be engaged with it for 90 minutes.
Mm,
I think the games are a lot shorter now, but
yeah.
I'd still like to go and see one, but I think you need to go with mates. It's not like the kind of thing you can go by yourself and think, oh yeah, it's really good. But I've been to NBA games in the past, and they're a lot more. I quite like those. Are quite a lot, but
And do you know your baseball quite well, or was it something? I know you said you got help from Trip and B at the start, but did you have at least like a general consensus of players and who was good, who was bad, the teams that were right and wrong for you?
no, not at the start, no.
No. Yeah.
But I mean, I think my knowledge of baseball was that it's like rounders right at the start. But yeah, so it took
Yeah.
a bit of time. But yeah, no, I think probably after maybe 5 or 6 game weeks, I was sort of fairly clear on what everything was.
Right, that's good. And I guess while we're on the subject of different little things, like, do you have any sort of like memorable sort of memories, I guess you can say, in So Rare that So Rare's sort of like giving you itself? Like, I don't know if you've been to a game, if you watched a particular super rare you had or a rare, and it was like quite a a surreal experience doing that, because that for me is something I would love to do in the near future.
Yeah, I've been quite lucky with a lot of the stuff. I haven't got over to the States yet, but I hope to at some point, providing my health sort of picks up. But
Mm.
um, I'd love to. I've been to like meetups, like the Nellis meetup that we did a couple of years ago. I went to watch West Ham Man City win Holland's first game and his first goal with a few Sorare managers.
Mm.
Did a Sorare meetup with a couple of the guy, or one of the guys from Sorare itself, and a few other sort of content creators. That was start of last year, so we went to watch Spurs versus Man City,
Yeah.
and that was the game where Kane scored his record-breaking goal. So that was
Wow.
quite cool. I've been to a few games now because of it, but I can't really get to loads, which is quite tough. But I've won loads of tournaments. So I won the whatchamacallit with a MLS Special Weekly and won this shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've won quite a few sort of bits and bobs and stuff like that. Yeah, and all of these sort of things, they're always really quite cool to win and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, which is exactly why I think So Rare's one ahead of things like FPL stuff like this, because obviously,
Definitely, yeah.
the sort of the prizes and the rewards you can get are uncanny in comparison to FPL. I don't even know what people have won on FPL, to be honest with you. Whereas I see even just So Rare the other day, I'm sure you guys saw it, like dishing out beanies and stuff like that. Like, it's little things like that that bring like the whole community all together, and I love that about it. And you mentioned obviously going to the States. Like, would you who would you go for? Who would you love to see in the MLS? Do you support anyone in particular?
Not really. It sort of depends on the card you have, doesn't it? I guess Seattle I've sort of followed a bit just because I had various Seattle stacks and stuff like that. But I'd go and see any of them. I was planning last year to go out to sort of Austin, Charlotte area because a couple of the guys I know are around there.
Yeah.
And try and go and watch a Charlotte game with Trippin and Bob Flynn and people like that, and we'll go to watch Austin play. But yeah, I definitely want to get out there, but hopefully this year at some point.
Yeah, fingers
What
crossed.
about you guys? Have you ever been out there to watch football and stuff, or
I've
soccer?
never been though. I want to go watch the Pittsburgh Steelers play. So that's my NFL team. Um,
Okay, yeah.
but yeah, that's what I want to go and watch. I'd love it if they brought ice hockey into Sorare as well. It's relatively small squads, so that shouldn't be okay. It should be okay. I know they can't bring NFL in because every team has 90 players on a roster, so it'd just be chaos basically if they tried to do that. But yeah, I'd love it if they brought ice hockey in as well. I like a little bit of ice hockey. That'd be quite cool. Very
Yeah.
small squads. It would be like the NBA sort of format.
You know what? I think a small goal for me this year, and I think you should have probably the same thing as me, Jones. But I'm not going to speak for you. But I have a collection at limited because my gallery is only small, especially in comparison to both of you two, anyway. And I have a collection of a Gijon stack, and I've really enjoyed playing, using them, and watching them play when and where I can on the screen. And I would love to be able to put a full stack in and then go watch the actual game live. And I think that's one of my goals for this year to do. And I think is a very achievable, attainable goal. So yeah, that's definitely something for me. What about do you guys have anything like that, like a stack that you really would like to go watch, whether it's in Belgium, Spain, Italy, America?
Well, I support Liverpool, but I was lucky enough recently to go to Palace versus Liverpool,
Yeah,
which was quite cool. It was, it was a good game, but yeah, Palace were probably the better team. But I played loads of my Liverpool guys there, so that was one of the first times I'd seen, loads of my cards play. But yeah, sorry, Jonesy, what were you going to say?
No, I've got Valadler's stack, Tigres and Motherwell. I've got a few players from there. I wouldn't mind going to a Motherwell game 'cause it's relatively close. It's achievable, isn't it, for yourself to just nip up to Scotland for a weekend and maybe catch a game. But no, I haven't got really anything in the Americas that I would go and see. Nothing. No, not really. Maybe Austrian football. I wouldn't mind going to an Austrian league game. Maybe Tyrol or Austria Vienna something. That'd be quite cool. But no, not they won't be this year. They definitely might be the year after. We'll see what happens.
see what happens. Already closing it off, mate, in January. Jeez. Fair enough. um, anyone up for Sorare Sevens? Everyone, have you been? Has anyone been before? Because I sure as haven't. I would like to go though, definitely.
No, I was on holiday during the first one. I'm not going to go up to Scotland for the next one just because I'd rather, if I was going to go to one, it would probably be in the summer. But I think they're doing one in the summer again, which hopefully I'll go to. I won't be playing because I'm bloody ancient and watching people like Ryan Haber play. They're pretty talented. A lot of the guys that go there.
Jonesy, mate, how about you?
Yeah, I'm not going up to Scotland either, but we'll see if there's a summer one coming about. We'll see where it gets placed, and I might go down to the summer one, see where it goes.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's sort of go with this sort of way then. So for me, like I said, for me personally, my gallery, as I said, is small. So the way I go about obtaining my next player, I go quite in depth with it and try pick up people for as cheap as possible. Now, for you, Monkey, here, like, how do you go about buying your next purchase? Do you watch the player at all, or do you just go off pure stats, or do you just get a feeling? How do you go about it?
Yeah, I've in the past, or I'm trying to get away from this, but I try to buy sort of prospects and people that can deliver now. At the moment, I've got probably 70% of my gallery is made up of prospects, but I need to sort of like reduce that a little bit and start to move into like SO5 performers because I've noticed over the last sort of couple of months that when I'm building teams, especially in capped. If I have a cap 0 player to play in a tournament, I can't really take advantage of that quite as much in rare. In limited, it's not so much of a problem, but yeah. So I do need to move away. But in terms of your question, I sort of, yeah, I will look into sort of how players construct their scores. Generally, especially if it's a bigger purchase, I'll look into sort of how sustainable that might be. Are they on set pieces? Could that get removed? And if that gets removed, will it have a big impact on the scores?
So yeah, no, okay, that's yeah. The way you go about it, I think is quite clever. And you said, would you say you know your gallery quite well?
Reasonably well. I mean, I've got like, I don't know, 1,500, 1,700 cards or something like that, so,
So
how well can you know all of, you can't know every single player within the gallery, but
well, no, I fully agree. It's hard enough for me to know my players, and I've got 50 odds. So yeah, don't get me wrong, I sympathise. But the reason I say it's because obviously I've told you, but you do have a quiz. And Jonesy, when do you want to do that quiz, mate? Did you want to do it in a second? You can do because it's going to be about your gallery. Did you
Yeah,
want to
I've
do
got it
that
ready.
now? Yeah.
I've got it ready if you want to do it now.
Yeah, so obviously the way this is going to work, we've got a quiz, or Josie's made a quiz on your gallery. Okay, you have to come in the top two out of all the creators that we're going to be doing through the podcast. Everyone's got the same sort of questions. It's all about their galleries. It's 10 questions. They're going to be progressively harder, I think, the way Josie works it.
Should be,
So
yeah.
second place out the end of it will receive a mystery scarf. Okay, and in first place will receive a mystery kit. And that's how we're going to work it. So there's something on the line there for you. So I hope you've you know your players quite well in your gallery.
well, you said earlier that like, one of the guests coming on in the not too distant future might be Harry Trades. Harry Trades has like, 100 cards or something like that. So it's going to be far easier for someone like him. So I hope you like really ramp up and go in a lot of detail on the
Promise you.
questions for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
trust me, Jonesy. Yeah, he doesn't take any prisoners. So if you've got a smaller gallery, he's going to ask you a lot more intricate questions as opposed to what you're probably going to have. So yeah,
Fair
don't worry
enough.
about that.
Right, so I think the score to beat is 5. Am I right, Cap? Is it still Salah, isn't it? 5
Salah at
questions out of
5,
10.
Jack P had 3.
Yeah, so 5 is what's to beat.
Out of what?
10.
Okay, cool.
So there's only 10 questions. They are extremely difficult, as you know, we've got a lot of guests coming on, so we've got to try and get a good leaderboard going. So are you ready for your first question?
Yeah, far away.
Okay, the first question for the SorareMonkey quiz. What is your highest valued limited currently in your gallery by floor price? Now, bear in mind I did this quiz last night.
Um, I'm thinking either Antoine Griezmann. He did it last night, so I was thinking maybe Jody Veerman, but his price I think would have dropped a bit. Did you say sorry, limited or rare?
You're limited. It's a limited card. So your highest valued limited card. Don't worry, this is the only limited question we have on here, I think.
If it's by floor as well, then I do have some where there's none more being minted, so their floors are weirdly high.
So it's what I got last night. You have mentioned the player. I'm going to give a clue because obviously that quiz is extremely difficult.
I'm going to go with Griezmann.
So you did mention the player, but unfortunately it was Joey Veerman's new season card.
I thought his
Oh,
price would have dropped a little bit
That
because he's
was
injured and talking
that
of
was
moving.
insanely high. I think it was up at like 70 something pound or something. It was ridiculous. Ridiculously
Yeah.
high priced. But okay, so we'll put the next by that one. So that's question 1 out of the way. Question 2, a little bit easier for you because I think you'll know this. How many first place finishes have you had?
In just football or in
Well, it's what it says on your whole Sorare profile, so I'm assuming it means everything.
no, if it says it on my So Rare profile or on my So Rare data profile.
Sorare data, sorry, Sorare data. All of it's done on Sorare data.
Okay, 11.
Yes, that's correct, yeah. There's one in the bag.
Yes.
there we go. 1 in.
Okay, so this one's going to be football related. So it's what is your best finish in a rare football competition this season from game week 400 onwards?
400 onwards. I
Yeah.
don't think I've won anything in rare since then. So Does this include month-longs?
No, I don't think it does now. I think it is just I'll double check it. I'll double check the winning prize for you. There's always these little questions, like little niche questions that include month long. Someone had one last week where we had to do a VAR check, didn't we?
We did. But I think you were right, I think still. If I remember right.
I think it would have been the top 10. I'm going to go with 6th.
Pretty close, actually. It's third. You finished third in a cap 220 and you won Eric Dyer.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay, and next one for you is what is your current total roster valuation? Now I'm going to pull up Sorare data here just to make sure. I'm going to give you as well 1,000 each way. If you're doing it in pounds, and obviously give you half an ETH each way. If you're doing it in ETH, let me just refresh on yours. There we go. So I've got it now.
I'll go with ETH, and I'll go with 19.8.
That's almost spot on. It's
really?
19.78.
Oh,
Yeah.
Damn.
That's quality. Right, we'll put a tick by that.
What an answer.
I only check that once a month as well, but I did check it, I think, a couple of days ago. So
That is extreme. I think that's the closest we've had to one of those questions. Here we go. So question 5, I think we're on. So it says Stefan Fry has given you your highest gaming yield in rare. How much money has he actually returned to you?
Stefan Fry, I'm pretty sure my biggest in-game yield from a rare is actually from Renoso, but if you say Fry, then I'll go with ETH again. I'm not going to be able to give you an exact total. There's no way.
No. If you're going to go in ETH, let me see if we can get an ETH calculator up for it because I've only got it in pounds here. So here we go, ETH calculator. Let's have a look.
While Jonesy's doing that, guys, make sure to like the video and subscribe, please, and also drop a 5-star for us, please, on Spotify. That will be great.
Okay, yeah, I've got the total here. So I'll give you to the closest point. Actually, closest point 1.
Okay, and this is yield from total yield that teams have earned with him in, or individual yield.
So this is from when we go onto your Sorare data profile and we go into your gallery, we can go into your SO5 utility and we can search for, we can look at the cards you have and we can sort it by total gaming yield. So obviously it shows all the lineups they've played in, how many times you picked them percentage-wise, how many cards they've won, and how many thresholds they've won. And it gives you a total gaming yield in a monetary value.
I'll go with 1.05 ETH.
Okay, let's get on the ETH calculator. Okay. The ETH calculator is saying it's 0.5 ETH is what he's brought back, which seems a little low, to be honest, to me when I found it, but that's what Sorare data is giving me back.
Yeah.
There's some other players in there, like Diego Valdez has got quite a large return as well. Nicolas Lodiero has got quite a large return. Who else is on there? João Ricardo, that's not as large return as the other ones. Lee Yong Jae is another one that's got quite a high return, but Stefan Fry is at the top according to Sorare data.
Fair enough.
So we will move on to the next one. The next question is, what is your highest finish in rare basketball?
I don't think I've won a tournament in that.
Gonna do a double check as well. I think I've got it all here. Yep, I have.
I think I've podiumed before. I'll go with third.
Third. So what Sorare data has given me is 24th was the highest.
Really?
I've got all your awards listed here.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of baseball. Yeah, it's possible. But I have one. I'm pretty sure I finished higher than that. Maybe not, though.
Yeah, do that one. So your next one is, what is your total rewards valuation on the platform? So I'll give you a grand again each way for pounds, and we'll give you, I think it's about 0.5 ETH, and it's a grand at the moment or something like that. We'll give you 0.5 ETH either way in ETH if you're doing it in ETH.
I'll go with 7.2 ETH.
7.2 ETH, you've actually won a lot more than that. You're on 9.187 at the time of recording.
Damn.
A lot. That's a lot. So these last few questions are a little bit harder. I know, it sounds bad, that, doesn't it? So you last hit the threshold in rare in game week 440. I'm going to read out the 5 players you had that game week in a second, and we want to know which one had the lowest base score out of those players. So I'm just pulling up your game week 440s here. Threshold is here. So I'm going to read out the lineup. You just tell me which one had the lowest score. So in goal, when it comes up. There we go. In goal, you had Volkan Babakan. In the defender spot, you had Serdar Aziz. In the midfielder spot, you had Haris Hadradinovic, sorry. In the other midfielder spot, which is the extra, you had Irfan Kveki. And in the forward spot, you had Nuno da Costa. So which player had the lowest base score out of those 5?
So you mean AA?
But just the lowest score, but without adding percentage bonuses or anything.
Well, no, it was either Nuno or Harris. So I'm going to go with. I'll go with Nuno.
So you said it between Nuno and Harris, which is right. Harris had a base score of 41.9. Nuno had a base score of 35.4.
Hey.
So you got it in the bag. Let's give that one a tick. The next one is, again, according to Sorare data, what is your total amount of card rewards won in Sorare? Now I'll give you 10 each way because you've won a lot.
This is taken off Sorare data, yeah? Or is this taken off...
This is from Sorare data. I'm going to go and update it now. Obviously, you might have had rewards come through on Friday.
No, first time in ages that I didn't get any rewards.
Yeah, mine's there. So yeah, I've got it there.
I'll go with 792.
It's close, but it's not quite close enough. It's 750 according to Sorare data. 750 and 11 podiums.
Damn.
And then this is comfortably, I think, the hardest question in the whole quiz. I think you'll either know this or you won't. So this is according to Sorare data again. Who is your oldest minted card in your super rare collection currently? So I think I went through your super rares last night, and I went and had a look at who is the oldest minted.
Oh, sorry. Oldest as in age, or oldest as in the age of the player, or oldest that I've had?
The age of the card. So the age of the actual card itself, like they minted the longest time ago.
And you mean when was that card minted, or?
Yeah, so obviously you can get 2023, 2024 cards, 2021, 2022 cards and stuff like that, 2020 cards, 21 cards. So which is the one that's been minted the longest ago in Super Rare that you have in your you've had in your gallery.
Oh.
I'm doing a double check on it, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
I'll go with one of the Japanese guys. Sorry, just to confirm, it's how long I've had it, or when it was minted originally to anybody.
So it's when it was minted originally. So it's the oldest style of cards. So obviously, I think your earliest cards were 2019, 2020, weren't they? And then you had 2020 cards, then 2020, 2021. It's the oldest looking minted card.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, I've got. I'm trying to think of the year. So,
give you a clue. You are on the right lines with Asia.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm trying to think of the. I'm trying to think because the years are different, aren't they? They have 2020. I'll go with 2020.
2020 is correct. That is correct, and it was. I'll give you the name of the player. It is a Masaki Higashiguchi,
Yeah, goalkeeper.
goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So we'll take that one. Let's have a look how much you've got. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which puts you in second, I believe, at the moment. Is that right, Cap? 5 and 3 are the other two.
That's correct.
So you're in second place at the moment with 4 out of 10. It's not bad considering how difficult the quizzes actually are.
Yeah.
I think when I do
Those were easier because I had a bigger gallery. Then I dread to think what kind of questions you're going to be asking someone like Harry.
Yeah.
Harry will get in, a lot more like in game week 392. And I won't even give him any multiple choice. I'll just expect him to remember the lineup.
Yeah. Well, that's an honourable score anyway. Yeah, it sounds low, but the questions that are being asked, like you need to know your gallery, not just the players, the worth and the yield. It's a lot to it. But if we
I don't tend to look at that sort of stuff either. I really don't sort of pay much attention to sort of, maybe once every 6 months I'll have a look at the gaming yield for the players. All I know is on my Sorare Data app, the card that shows the most in-game yield is Emmanuel Reynoso for rare. But I don't know. Maybe that's a bug between the app or maybe that's yield for total yield rather than yield for that individual player. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, why don't we talk about something a bit more relaxing and take your mind off things, because obviously you've just had a heated 10 minutes then. But I'm not going to do that. I thought we can get into a prime debate, okay? And I wanted to know between you, obviously, but all three of us will have a little bit of a say in it. I've got a couple of prime versus prime versus prime. So it's 3 players. We got to, rank them 1 to 3 of who you take in your team, all right? Or in a team. If you're a manager, play for any club in the world, who would you pick? Now, do you want either prime Gundogan, prime Kante, or prime Casemiro?
This is like a start, sub, sell sort of thing.
I guess so, yeah. You know what? Let's do that. Start, sub, sell. Let's do that.
Because the question I was going to do for the next guest actually was either going to be kill, marry, shag of players on
If you want to do that, mate, you can do that if you want. I've got no judgments, don't worry.
But it depends on who the next person is.
If it's Jonesy,
yeah. Anyway, sorry. Let's answer your question first.
Anyone, just feel free to jump in wherever you think, because that is difficult. Yeah, that is difficult. And I'm talking about their primes as well, so not their current. So, Kante...
I think I would go with Kante, because I think as defensive midfielder, the year Leicester won the league, and even when he was fit at Chelsea, he struggled with injuries over recent years, but he was just literally... the whole 90 minutes, he would just go. He's got an eye for goal, although he doesn't score loads, but he can score. And he literally was just a menace. If you stick him in front of, any central defensive back two, then, you can feel that when he was in his prime, that, they're protected. There's no way they won't have protection at some point. His engine was just... And I think Casemiro, I think Gundogan is good, but he's not that type of player. He pushes forward a little bit more and he's good, but I think there's lots of other people that are good in his position. I just think as a defensive midfielder, I think that Kante was one of the best. And I think Casemiro is good, but I don't think he's as good as Kante at his best.
Yeah. No, I agree. My list goes like that as well. It would be buying Kante, benching Casemiro, and loaning or selling off Gundogan. Silly as that sounds, but yeah, I completely agree with that. Same reasons as well. Jonesy, what about you, mate? Considering you're a City fan, is Gundogan a bit higher up?
I like Casemiro. Casemiro's getting sold. The guy's awful. He wasn't even that good in his prime. I think a lot of people could do what he could do in that Real Madrid team. That Real Madrid team was electric. Didn't really have a lot of competition for those Champions League wins. We could have probably put you there, Cap, and I think you'd have done a job. So I'm having Gundogan on the bench. I'm starting Kante. You can't not start Kante, can you? That guy was phenomenal for a number of years. Won the Premier League with 2 different teams.
I can't believe you just
And
said
then
Casemira's shit.
look at Gundogan. He captained the treble-winning team.
Yeah, but that was exactly the same as you've just said with Real Madrid.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you know, you stick it, there were 11 stars in that team.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I didn't see Casemiro. And obviously, you put Gundogan in when it's a holding midfielder debate. Gundogan was more of a box-to-box midfielder, so you
If you
kind of got the
took,
wrong player
I
in the
don't
category.
think if you took Gundogan out of City, they still would have won the treble.
No.
If you took Casemiro out of that team, I don't think they would have done as nearly as good. Probably got
I
close,
think the
or if
opposite
not
way
very
around.
similar, but I don't think it would have been. Gundogan
I
is
think
no
it's the
much
opposite way
like
around. I don't think you can
your
take those
important
Gundogan
players are
goals or
like
assists out.
Rodri. If you lost Rodri, it'd be a different story. If you lost Gundogan, it's not. It's not the same.
But if Real Madrid lost Casemiro, they could just bring in.
Who?
But virtually anybody could do that Casemiro job.
Who do they have in the team to swap Casemiro?
What, right now?
No, at the time in his prime when they won the Champions
Um,
League with Zidane and all this
Cruz
stuff.
could play the pivot.
Who?
Cruz could play the pivot.
Yeah, but
I don't
he's
think
not
he'd
a
look out
really
of
good
place.
defensive midfielder.
I don't think he'd look out of place. And Real Madrid don't really look at La Liga. It's not a great league.
I know, but I'm talking Champions League as well.
And what competition did Real Madrid really have in that year? Apart from Liverpool, we were shocking in the Champions League, and we were under some sort of like horrible curse of run of form and getting beat by lower teams like Monaco and stuff like that.
All right. Well, I think I'll move on for it before I start hating you even more. So I've got I've got another good one here, and I actually do think it's a really good one as well. So again, keep, bench, sell, prime Hazard, prime Salah, and prime Bale. What would you do? Now that's I think personally right now is a very difficult, extremely difficult one, because Hazard for Chelsea, next level. But Salah, the things he's doing with a Liverpool team that they've done. I mean, you can tell us this of all people, but I mean he's phenomenal player.
I think my third choice would be Hazard, just because
Ooh.
I know we're just talking about prime, but his prime was so short, and his prime, even when he was in his prime, it really depended on how he was feeling that day.
Yeah.
So even when he was in his prime, he wasn't consistent. Yes, he could do some brilliant stuff. Yes, on his day, he was one of the best players on the planet, and he could literally sort of run rings around people. But even when he was in his prime, that changed sort of week to week. So I think Salah and sorry, who was the third one?
Bale.
I think Salah and Bale were far more consistent. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan, so I've got to say Salah, but I would be so close to saying Bale, because Bale on his day, he could. I mean, he started out as a bloody left back, and as a left back, he literally would bomb forward, and these were days when left backs didn't get forward like that.
Yeah.
And just some of the stuff he could do in terms of striking a ball. I think it's very close between him and Salah, just because, I think I'd probably go with Salah just because, I think he's probably more consistent and sort of been theoretically injury free, although it looks like he's got a hamstring injury now. But yeah, I've got to go Salah because I'm a Liverpool fan, but it'd be very close between him and Bale.
Fair enough. Jonesy,
Yeah,
what about you?
I'm the same. Salah starts, Bale on the bench, and then Hazard unfortunately gets sold. They're all cracking players. That's such a tough one to do. I think I have a really good think about that one. But yeah, Salah definitely starts. Starts for me.
I think for me, like maybe to go against the grain a little bit, I would sell Salah.
Oh no!
I don't.
Oh no!
Your team would lose.
Oh no!
You as manager.
End the podcast there. Just end it there.
I was
End it
never
there.
going to win this, but I'm just looking at it: Hazard, Salah, and Bale, because I do get your point about the longevity of it, but I am talking about him in it, as short as it was a whole season or two. He still was that phenomenal player, and that's what I'm trying to think of. Because yes, of course, Salah, like the longevity of it, he's done it since he's basically returned. But I'm talking about in their absolute prime. I think I don't know. I'd probably start Bale. I'd bench Hazard and I'd sell Salah. I think.
I've
Who
got
do
to
you support?
apologise. He's a United fan, obviously. United fan. I've got to
No,
apologise
but
to my co-host.
honestly,
He knows very
that's
little
got
about football.
honestly though, that's got nothing to do with my judgment right now. I promise you now. I put all of my egos aside. I'm properly trying to think. I'm giving you my explanation, which I think is more than suffice, right? Like Hazard in his absolute prime, like he was up there with one of the best. It was just crazy, and that's it, mate.
Yeah, but he had so many bad days, even when he was
Yeah,
good.
that is
Yeah,
terrible take from you. That I can't lie.
no, I don't think it's that bad. If you
But
if you
I've had to
disagree with me, guys,
apologise
put
to
it in
my
the
guest.
comments, and we'll even put it as a poll after this thing. But yeah, got to be Bale, Hazard, and Salah. I think that's mine. Another little debate I just want to do because we'll do a couple more of these, and then we'll jump into more football. What I want your take, right? We've had this debate for the longest time now, and I'm going to bring it up also. I put up a poll on the 15th of Jan, so 5 days ago. I've done a prime Nemanja Vidic or a prime Vincent Company. Now I'll let you. Who would you put in your team?
We'll stay silent. We will stay silent.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell the results till after.
I know already know the results.
I think I would go Company based on the fact that when he was injured, like City were a lot weaker without him in the team. And I know that he obviously tailed off a bit towards the end, but even towards before he retired or moved to Belgium, he was still influential even at that age. Vidic, I think, was great, but I think Man United at the time, they always had good defenders that could fill in, and if he was injured or out, then there was other people that could come in. I think Company was just sort of head and shoulders above in terms of like Premier League performance.
Okay, fair enough.
SRMonkey's taken the spot as my favourite guest
I
comfortably.
was going to say it's good to have a guest that's wrong for once, but
It's early days yet. I'm sure I'll offend you in a minute.
no. So basically, okay, look, I respect it. I think because I'm a United fan and he's a City fan, it's a funny little debate going. But obviously, I was going to go for Vidic. He was also going to go for Company. Obvious. The results from 46 people was obviously Vidic. 56.5% of the votes, with 43.5 going to Vincent.
All the FIFA virgins that mate, I told you. All the FIFA players that have got Vidic as an icon or something.
What do you mean? Company was on fucking longer than Vidic was.
No, they're not the company's only just got a card as a hero.
Yeah, but
Vidic has an
icons
icon
weren't for
for years.
ages, mate. Company was on there for time before he left.
Like I said, we have an expert here now who said company's better, so that settles the debate.
Well, after that opinion, I wouldn't say expert, but it is what it is. No, I'm joking. But who else have I got? I had a nice. Oh yeah, I thought this was a really good one as well. By the way, yeah. So Prime again. The last. I'll probably it's the last one unless you guys wanted one more. I've got Prime Wayne Rooney, Prime Didier Drogba, or Prime Luis Suarez.
Prime Luis Suarez. I mean, for me, it's not even close. And probably the other two would have fairly equal behind. Suarez, the things he could do on the ball, were just incredible. The guy was a genius. Unfortunately, he's also a complete psychopath. But, we're removing that from the
equation.
The question. Wayne Rooney, I think
Watch
he was
yourself.
great. He scored some absolute belters. But I don't know. I just always had him as a little bit overrated. And Drogba, I'd probably have in the middle.
Oh my fucking god! Right, guys,
No,
that's
no,
been the end of the podcast. Oh my goodness gracious me!
He
Okay,
scored some great
Suarez
goals.
is
Don't
out
get me
front.
wrong, but
Suarez is out front for me. Rooney's in second and Drogba's in third. I don't think really Drogba did. He's got 100 Premier League goals, right? But there is players like Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank that have got like more goals than him in the Premier League. He's more known for his clutch moments, like
Yeah.
in finals, in big games. He'll crop up with a goal. Suarez obviously number one. That's like, please don't tell me you've got Rooney number one. I am just walking off the podcast, Cap.
no, mine go the same way as you. It is Suarez, Rooney, and then Drogba. All three of them phenomenal players. Obviously, I despise Liverpool. Sorry, but I do. Obviously, being a United fan, I'd be weirded out if you weren't the same for United. But I do obviously appreciate a good quality strike, and I loved people like Fernando Torres and obviously Luis Suarez. Like they're one of my favourite strikers, and despite them being for Liverpool, but Suarez was on another level. Like his he was phenomenal. The goals he would score. I think Rooney, the overrated comment. I don't know. Like I mean, he did it since he was 18. Do you know what I mean? Like he's just done it since, and he's just just a phenomenal player, absolutely phenomenal player. And the goals he scored, my most favourite being against who, Jonesy, Man City, that overhead kick. Don't care, mate. Went in. Don't care that it went in past seeing Michael Richards' face like,
complete clue. That's not even one of his best goals.
And then Joe Hart just like, mesmerised. It was and the importance of that game as well was amazing. But
I think at the time though, if you stuck like Cristiano Ronaldo and Tevez on either side of me, I would score some pretty good goals, and I'd certainly score quite a few.
Everyone says that though against like Man City, like, oh, you stuck me up front, and that Man City squad, you score goals. Like, no, you wouldn't. Like, you just wouldn't, because the movement.
You wouldn't even have to work that hard either, because Tevez would do all the running.
The preciseness and the ability to strike the ball of those three players would change any squad. Yes, the quality of the service obviously is something, but that was the thing with people like Suarez and Rooney, that they could dribble, they could move, they were strong on the ball, they could dictate play. They didn't have to have, obviously it helps Rooney and Tevez, of course, but I mean, that'll be mine. That's my debate for those three. So, did you guys want one more? Or do you want to go into more? Because I don't know. I think I've got.
How do you think Suarez will do in Miami?
Well, I think he will do well.
I don't think so.
I think he's got around him. Do you not think he'll do well, you guys?
I don't know. No.
He's done well in Brazil, though, hasn't he? I think he scored like a good number of goals in Brazil for, was it called?
He played in Argentina or Uruguay, I think. I don't think he played in Brazil, did he?
Yeah, no, he did. Yeah, he's just come from Brazil.
Yeah, he was from Brazil, yeah. Right. Yeah, he scored a number of goals. I think he'll do fine in the MLS. His intelligence will carry him through. He's such a smart player.
How long do you think before he bites someone?
1 week.
Debut. Debut bites someone. No, I mean, he's obviously like 4 or 5 or 6 levels above the MLS still at his age. The same with Messi. Can you imagine Messi feeding him the ball? He's just scoring goals for fun.
I can see it, but I can also see him being out. He will make 1 in every 6 games.
You think he's going to be injured?
He said it in an interview a few months ago or something. It was translated in the way that he said that he's in constant pain at the moment with his knee or his hip or something like that, so that he's not going to last much longer. This will probably be a final year. That's why his price, like, although he was in Brazil, he plummeted because everyone presumed that he might obviously retire. Because that's my assumption, is that he is probably going to be in too much pain or something like that. I don't know. I don't know if it's the weather in Brazil or if it's going to be any better in Miami. I'm not sure, but
let's see how he does. I still am pegged for over 20 goals.
No, I think
he could get that in like the space of 5 games.
I think he get 8 to 10.
No, that's silly.
No, because that's not. I know his quality, like we just said before, but he's 37 now, 36, is he, or something? Right,
it's the equivalent of throwing like Aguero now into the National League or something. It's the MLS standard is still not great. I know it's come up a lot from when I watched it a few years ago. And it's a lot more, obviously, a lot more better designated players in there now as well. You had players like Zlatan go over. Carlos Vela is just leaving. He's been there a while and he's been dominating. I mean, if a player like Carlos Vela can dominate in that league, surely a player like Suarez with Messi feeding him is going to at least get a number of goals. Obviously, injuries might play a factor. If he's fully fit all season and he makes 75% of the games, which he might do, I'll have him pegged for 20 goals. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
How many goals do you think he'll get, SRMonkey?
10 to 15, because I think he will, when he plays, I think he'll do well. I just think that injuries will be a problem, like playing on turf over there as well. It's going to affect sort of knees and stuff like that. So I don't know. There's so many games that I think that a lot of their best players won't play. And Busquets and Jordi Alba, they've all had injury problems as well. So I don't know how many times. I think it will be only be a handful of times they get all of those guys on the pitch at once.
Yeah, that's my thinking behind it as well. Like, how many games? I think there's 30, I can't remember how many games are in the MLS season apart from the playoff, but there's 30 odd games for them to play. And obviously, unlike England, obviously America's massive. Do you know what I mean? So the whole interstate flying and stuff as well is also another factor people don't really consider, and that's why home teams are so favourable in the MLS out of all leagues because of that actual travelling itself. But yeah, he phenomenal player. Like I say, he's a bit of a bitey bastard, but he did he did play well, and I for one can appreciate someone like Suarez definitely, but I can only see. I said my prediction is 8 to 10 off the pure basis. I think you're going to get maybe 15 to 20 full games from him, and the rest might be like little 30-minute cameos or something if he does come on or score or whatever. So that's my
How many games do you think he will play?
15 to 20.
So if he plays 20 games, do you not think he can average a goal a game? It's
No.
Luis Suarez.
No, I don't think so. No, like you said before as well. Like, yes, they've got Busquets. Yes, they've got Messi, which obviously going to be the most pinnacle one out of the rest. Jordi Alba. But can you name me anyone else in the Inter Miami team? Because they were down near the bottom for a reason.
Comanche's looking like a really good player.
Was he from this season? Because, like I said,
Yeah, he's a young lad. He's a young player.
yeah. So
listen here, right? Cap. He played 45 games for Grêmio last season. 45 in a season, which is nearly all of them, I believe, in the Brazilian league. And he scored 24 goals. Brazilian league's harder than the MLS.
But also, he's taking penalties in Brazil. He won't be taking penalties with Messi on the pitch.
Yeah.
Do you not think? Do you think Messi will definitely take all pens?
Yeah, when they're both on the pitch, Messi takes the pens.
If Messi isn't on the pitch, then Suarez is next man up, right?
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, he will, but it still goes off my point before. Like Inter Miami were, I think, literally second last, and they were there for the majority of the season. Messi comes and obviously, yes, betters them, but they still concede a lot of goals. So it's not going to better Miami. It'll better Miami, of course, but I don't think it'll get them into the playoffs, which is that extra 6 games or 4 games or whatever it is. So
it's all going to depend on fitness, isn't it? If those players can stay fit for a number of games and they're not losing like 2 or 3 players at a time out of that little, squad that they've got, then yeah, I think they'll make the playoffs. They shot up the table with Messi back, didn't they? When Messi came into the team, they absolutely shot up the table.
They did, and then Messi got injured and they went back down again.
Yeah, so it all depends on how many they can keep fit and how many games those little set of players can play. Have they signed anybody else yet? I'm not sure if they have. Is it just Suarez at the moment that Inter Miami signed?
Yeah, they're releasing players to free up spots at the moment, so they're going to release or get rid of Grigori. I don't know whether they have already, but there's a couple of other guys they're trying to get rid of to free up cap space and a DP spot. I don't know whether the DP spot or whether they've signed Dinamon Tam or whatever. I don't know how they've signed Suarez. I haven't looked into it yet, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that they've got another spot that they can get someone decent in as well.
Yeah. Be interested to see who they do bring in. Like they've got that 17-year-old one as a reward, Benjamin Cremanchi. He started a few games last season. I'll see how he gets on. I'm hoping he gets a lot more starts this season. Looks good.
Did you see who I saw the other day, and I thought he could actually do really well, but I don't know at this particular team, is Origi. Looks like he might be coming to the MLS, and I think, if I remember right, it was Dallas. Yeah, I think it was Dallas. I think
that's to replace Jada O'Brien.
It must be, yeah, because Dallas. Like I don't know about Dallas in particular, to be fair.
No,
but I don't know if that's the best team for him to go. Like if he could have gone to like a Cincinnati, Philadelphia. Even like LAFC, like they're losing a lot of players. They look like they're losing. They lost Chiellini. They're losing Villa. They're losing Boanga. They're losing a load of prime players. So I don't know why someone like that wouldn't go there. But it's crazy, isn't it?
He's at Forest currently, isn't he? Origi, is he still at Forest?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
yeah. So, all right, so all right, we'll come off this sort of thing then. But I wanted to know. I asked you, Jones, before, so you don't have to obviously answer. But do you have any sort of superstitions or anything you follow during watching football, or you back in your heyday of Prime Monkey? Did he ever do anything to prep himself ready for the footballing season or a game or anything like that?
What, for playing football?
Yep, either or, playing, watching. Do you have like some sort of superstition, like you have to?
Well, playing football. I mean, I was once described as bang average, and that was the highlight of my career. So, I think that in
Was
terms of
this by your
football, it's
father or
probably
anything
best.
like that?
Pardon?
Was this your dad or anything that said bang average?
No, my dad would have told me I was brilliant, but
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, no. For watching big Liverpool games, like I watched the first game against Milan, the great comeback, Steven Gerrard game. I watched that on my own. I think I'd got out of hospital not long before, so I watched that on my own. We won it. The next, I think, was it 2 years later, we played Milan again, and we actually played a lot better the second time, but they beat us that time. I watched that with mates, and every time I watched it with mates or other people, big finals for Liverpool, we've lost. Whenever I watch it on my own, we win. So that's like dictates now how I watch Liverpool in big games.
So you just watch it alone now, or with the missus or something like that. You just watch it on the
Yeah,
telly,
yeah, yeah.
not at the pub.
Fair enough.
Fair play. Well, like I said, I tried to think about what I did when I was younger, but no, I don't remember anything at the top of my head. Jones, did you do anything like that at all for football? Like not maybe playing football, but like watching it. Do you do just something subtle like that?
Not for football. NFL, I make sure I got like my cap, my shirt on. I've never lost with the shirt on. My team have never lost with the shirt on. So if I can't find my shirt, we're probably gonna lose. It's just really weird. They went on like an 8-game unbeaten streak a couple of years ago, and then I couldn't find the shirt for one game, and they lost it straight away. I was like, incredible. So yeah, I always wear one specific shirt over a hoodie or something for the NFL. But I've not really got any superstitions for football. I mean, it's kind of hard, when your team wins everything anyway. Only why do you up?
Yeah, well, I know. Did you do you bar, let's say, the top five leagues? Do you follow any other leagues quite religiously? I guess, like I know for Jonesy, he's like the Austrian league. He loves that league. I love the MLS when it comes back, and so I'll be following that a lot. So, is there anything for you you enjoy?
Yeah, I watch MLS, Mexico, J League, K League, Eredivisie. I watch quite a bit of. All of the big five leagues, I'll probably watch at least sort of a game a week or at least highlights of them. Yeah, I watch a lot of football, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah, and what would you say is your favourite out of them all? Do you follow anyone in particular that you sort of gain an attachment to? Or is it you just go with the flow with those?
Yeah, I
leagues?
like the MLS, because like hopefully this season as well, they're going to have a lot more early games on, well, early over there and sort of evening games, so I can watch them at realistic times. But also I quite like getting up in the morning and sticking like the highlights on, or watching the sort of the 7-minute highlights they do of each game. I can sort of plough through them and do my own match of the day and stuff like that. But
Does Apple still have the MLS?
yeah, they've signed like a ridiculously long-term deal with them. Yeah.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, I even remember it was on Sky late at night. But yeah, it moved to Apple. I've not really had to sort of, get it in other ways, watch it in other ways.
Yeah, no, I subscribe to a lot of different platforms now for football stuff. So.
Yeah.
That's quite ridiculous, isn't it? They have to have like 4 or 5 different platforms just to be able to watch football these days, especially in England. I find it ridiculous, but that's another matter. But any unpopular footballing opinions you might have? Do you have anything that I don't know, specific team? Like you said, I mean that's the Wayne Rooney one was out of order. But do you have anything like that one?
No, not really. I mean, I guess it would probably be not a popular take, but I think Gareth Southgate is a decent England manager. I think that he's the right person for England. we've had so many big characters in there that just fall out with players and stuff like that. He's just like, yes, what he lacks on the tactical side and sort of like on the football side, I think he makes up for in the fact that he manages to gel teams together. And it's no surprise that we've done well in every tournament that he's been part of.
Do you think Southgate could bring us that World Cup or Euros win?
He can, yeah, but it's down to the players, really.
Yeah.
I think we do have the players right now. I think we're lacking probably a little bit in central defence. If Jones and Maguire, who both, sorry, not Jones, Stones and Maguire, if they were both fit and, on form, but both of them are so injury prone, but both of them do step up for England. But, it's probably the area where we're weakest. I think we do have sort of depth. Oh, keeper, I can't stand Pickford. Prickford, as I call him.
Yeah.
But again, he hasn't let England down. So,
Yeah, he's very much trusted, isn't he, Pickford? Same with Maguire. Even if they're not playing at club level, Southgate will still find a way of getting them in.
Phillips, Henderson, no doubt they'll be back in the squad. That's why I don't rate Southgate, to be honest with you. Like I don't. It feels like to me we're at the Sven-Goran Eriksson era, where it's like we have an absolute abundance of talent, young, old. We got them all, right? And we've got this manager who is just below par, who doesn't know what to do with it, and that's what it feels like. Do you know what I mean? Like we've got some phenomenal players in there. The fact are, like our midfielders are Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham. It's been the best since Lampard, Scholes, and Gerrard. Do you know what I mean? But again, it just feels like we've got this manager who just doesn't quite know what to do with it. And yes, we do well and we do well.
Consistency. He doesn't like, people turning up for an England meetup or England gathering or whatever you call them, and there being loads of different players every time. I think he likes to have integrated, familiar faces. And I think I read an interview he did about Henderson when he moved out to Saudi, saying that he loved having players like that in the squad because they were brilliant for mentoring the younger players coming through. And even if he didn't intend to play them, more than sort of, 20 minutes a match, he would still consider bringing players like that along, at the expense of a young player who's just maybe had one great month or a couple of great months, because those young guys, can come in the future, but he wants to have mentors in the squad. So I think what he does is sort of quite intelligent. I don't think he's going to be, popular against, most fans, but I think we have a team capable of winning the Euros in the summer. Whether we'll do it, I don't know. Other teams can beat us on the day. France are brilliant, and they have sort of strength throughout the squad. They're probably a little lighter in the centre of midfield, or they still have some great players, but they're stronger, I think, generally everywhere. Whereas we are better sort of in sort of midfield and front.
Yeah, I agree. France might be a bit weaker now, aren't they, with no Pogba and Kante, obviously. I think he's retired internationally now. That's
actually retired about 5 years ago. He's played maybe one game, hasn't he? But
yeah, they've still got Rabiot and stuff like that.
Tchouaméni and Rabiot are good, but after that there is a bit of a drop off. But they've still got loads of good players that can come through.
Yeah.
So I have a quick question that I want to ask, just a quick Sorare one, just a quick sidestep to Sorare. So I ask this to every guest, and it's in your gallery. Is there a player, or who is the player that you would recommend that everybody picks up? So it's a player you love that performs well consistently. Money's no option here. So if everybody said to you, who should I pick up? Who would be a player from your gallery you would recommend?
As soon as Diego Rossi moved from Fenerbahce to Columbus Crew, I picked him up, and I knew he'd do well because I remember watching him when he was at LAFC years ago. And the way he carries the ball, he sort of, just moves around. He grabs the ball, he moves around. He's very much like a sort of a Griezmann in that way. And he takes some set pieces for Columbus, and I just think, especially if Kuche stays, they've got such a strong team that I personally would rather have him than other big forwards just because of the AA. I love AA, and I think that they score well as well. So
Diego Rossi.
It's not cheap. You probably can get I'd put him up there, not quite with Messi because I think Messi on his day is just even now in MLS he's going to get hundreds. But I think Rossi, providing he stays fit, I just think he's such a class player.
I'm going to go buy one now you said that for everybody else.
Is he? I don't really know because I've not really watched this particular player. But is it like Reno, like a sort of Reynoso sort of style, or is he?
No, he's a bit more. Reynoso plays sort of a little sort of deeper, I guess. But Rossi, although he's a forward, he does come deep to get the ball still, but he can carry it, drifts past players, and he just takes some of the set pieces as well. And being in the MLS, they'll just most teams, even in poor teams, they score goals. So I think he will have a decent season. This will be his first full season since he's come back, and I just think full pre-season with the team. Love Wilfred Nancy as a coach. I think if any team's going to go back to back, I just think that they stand a good chance.
Yeah, especially with the LAFC getting weaker as well. We'll see who they bring in, but yeah, Columbus look very good.
Agreed. What was I going to ask there? So I had a couple up here, up on my screen, some footballing, really odd footballing opinions, and tell me if you agree with them or not. Okay. Take in mind this was
Vidic was good. That one.
Really good. That's right.
Yeah. Right. But no, I've got a couple here. So take in mind this was 2 years ago. I can't find anything fresher than this, but it is what it is. So the Champions League is actually easier to win than the EPL. True or false? I say it's true.
I would go true purely based on the fact that there's fewer games. So, you only need to win. If you win 12 games, you probably win it. Like you win the group games, you win the knockout rounds. You won it. Whereas the Premier League, I think that if you look at historically over the last few years, like all of the best players or teams that do well in the Champions League come from the Premier League. Yeah, there's Real Madrid and there's a couple of others, but generally as a Premier League team, at least one or two in the semi-finals, one in the final. There's been multiple times when there's been all Premier League finals over recent years, and therefore you've got to beat better teams more consistently in the Premier League.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the Premier League is harder to win. 38-game season, you've got to be consistent for 9 months straight. Obviously, the Champions League gets a little bit of a gap. But, I mean, you saw Inter Milan, you wouldn't have said they were one of the best teams last season. But obviously, they got to the final. You'd probably put 4 or 5 teams ahead of them. So, yeah, I think it's a little bit, you've got to be a little bit luck-based in the Champions League, and also it's a knockout, so it's just if you're better on your day, you're better on your day, aren't you? And the Premier League, you've got to be better over 38 games. So, yeah, SRMonkey's right.
Yeah. Agreed. Marcelo at his best was a better left back than Roberto Carlos.
Oh, it's so difficult to tell because playing for Real Madrid and stuff like that. I'll go with yes.
Yeah.
I think Roberto Carlos gets so much love because of the amazing goals he scored, but I think Marcelo is probably better overall as sort of defender, as a fullback.
I don't really remember too much of Roberto Carlos, if I'm being honest. It's a bit vivid for me, the World Cup 2002, I can remember a little bit. I'll go with Marcelo, only because I've seen him more. I've seen a lot more of Marcelo. I can't really remember
Marcelo.
too much of Roberto Carlos.
I think we've got one more here. I don't know if there's any other good ones here, but this one's a bit of a... I don't know, yeah. I'll let you think about it. Zidane was a worse footballer than all of Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Cruz, and Modric.
No, I disagree.
No. That's horrible, that.
Yeah, I'm just literally reading off that. What was this one? Someone
wrote these? You've wrote these, haven't you, Kat?
No, this is on onefootball.com. It's just someone said, quote, with a football opinion, an unpopular football opinion. Uh,
Yeah, that's
David
Zidane's draft.
Silva is a better player than Steven Gerrard, Lampard, and Scholes.
No,
No,
There's some stinkers.
better winger than all three of them. But
they're
when he
different
played on
types
the
of
wing,
players. Yeah.
but no, and they're probably not a better central midfielder than those three. Those three are in the elite table with like De Bruyne.
Foden is Britain's greatest ever wonder kid.
No, no, Owen probably a better wonder kid than Foden. Wouldn't you say? He had a
I
better
think
burst
so,
over
but I
thing.
think because Foden, like, although he won, like, he was part of the England World Cup winning side, the youth side. He didn't get that much like time on the pitch when he was really young. He
Yeah,
really integrated so slowly that it's difficult. You know, I think there's other guys that got a lot more love when they were younger, like Owen and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I remember Pep getting given a lot of shit actually for not using this talent of Foden for
he was
yeah,
for
meant
quite
he was
some
meant to be going
time.
on loan at one point when he was young, but he refused to go on loan, and then Pep just integrated him in, and that was it. He just nurtured him really well, I think, at the end of the day, and he's become the player he has, today.
yeah, he looks so good at the moment as well. He sort of got, he just drifts past people and stuff like that. It's just so,
Yeah.
he's such a good player. But
Uh, we'll,
hurts me to say that, but yeah.
we'll finish on this last little corker here. Vardy has a better Premier League legacy than Drogba.
No, I mean it's two different eras. Like Drogba was what nearly 15 years ago. 20 years ago. I
Yeah,
think that
but
Vardy,
did Drogba leave
Vardy
his
won
mark more
one
than Vardy?
title, and he consistently scored goals. He had that stretch where he scored consecutive goals for what was it? I can't remember, 10 games or something ridiculous. But Drogba, like just because it's so long ago, people sort of forget how good he was. He was such a good player, and he didn't come into his own until he was a lot older. But
Hmm.
I would have
Josie?
Vardy. I think Vardy, yeah. I remember Drogba for the sort of clutch moments, not for. I remember Vardy did that. What was it? How many games on the bounce did he score for? Was it whose record did he break again? The
Don't know, but
United
I
player. I can't
remember it was
remember.
against United when he did it. I think it was 10 or something on the
Van
bounce.
Nistelrooy, I think he beat
Oh,
him,
it is
maybe.
Van Nistelrooy as well, and he's broke that record. He's won the FA Cup. He's won Premier League. I know Drogba's also won these, but Vardy, because of that Leicester Premier League winning season, sticks probably more in my mind than Drogba's obviously clutch moments.
Yeah,
You
but
remember
when
that?
Drogba's clutch moments, what were you guys? Were you you probably were still in baby grows, weren't you?
No, no, I can remember
No, I
Drogba
still
quite
remember
well.
Drogba, yeah.
Yeah, he was great. Drogba was a great player, but again, it comes down to that thing that Drogba isn't really, not really. Would you say he's a Premier League elite? Isn't he? He's just above the 100 goals mark.
Yeah,
It's
but it was
tough to
100
say.
goals in a short period of time. Yes, other players have played in the Premier League for a lot longer, and obviously they've got like 150 goals. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
they're better.
Yeah.
When he was in his prime playing for Chelsea, he was banging in goals left, right, and centre. And you ask like central defenders who they didn't want to play against, and Drogba was one of them because he was physical, strong, great touch.
Yeah.
yeah. I know Drogba was hated by a lot of centre halves. It all depends on the situation. Like, if I wanted someone to play in a cup final for me, I'm not taking Vardy. I'm taking Drogba. Because
That's
Drogba,
like
you're
the
going to guaranteed a goal out of him
yeah,
100%.
but that's not
Even
the
in a
question.
semi-final, I'd take Drogba.
Remember, the question was who has a better Premier League legacy, and I am inclined to agree with this one. Vardy having a better legacy, not better player, but better legacy left than what. This one actually says Drogba and Harry Kane, but I didn't add Harry Kane because I thought that was just stupid, so I left Drogba in it. So Vardy has a better Premier League legacy than Drogba, and I am inclined to agree off the pure basis of what you just said, Jonesy. The
Yeah.
beating Van Nistelrooy's record, doing it in a Leicester team that was, at the time no one heard of Kante, Mahrez, and even like Wes Morgan in the back and all the Schmeichel. Like no one heard of any of these people really. And
5,000 to 1, weren't they?
hey,
Wasn't it 5,000 to 1? Somebody had a bet on them, didn't they, to win it?
something like that, and they did what we probably will never see again. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
something like that is phenomenal. So that, yeah, I completely agree. Is that there?
They did
Vardy
what we
done it.
would class as the impossible, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. So what we'll do as we'll start to sort of unwind a bit now because we're starting to get to the back end of this. I wanted to ask just your last sort of footballing side of it is do you have like a signing of the season that has been, in the it could be any league that you possibly want.
For this season, yeah.
Yeah, this season.
Oh, I don't know. It's so difficult. Like the obvious one is, I guess, is Madison, but then he's been injured and
Yeah.
he's been out for a while. But he looked brilliant for the start. Until he got injured for Spurs.
The Bosley deserves a shout. I like
Yeah,
Bosley.
but he dropped off a little bit. In terms of sort of output over the last month or so.
Thought the
I don't think of any signings that have actually
I thought the
excelled.
obvious one that would have been, because I said it doesn't have to be Premier League, is Jude Bellingham.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, if it's worldwide, then yeah, I thought you meant Premier League. Yeah,
No,
that,
yeah.
Sorry,
Any
yeah,
league you want.
Yeah, the obvious one. Yeah.
Yeah, Jude. I just wonder if there's anything like that. Like, he has made a so real difference already, and he's just scoring goals for fun and just having fun out there, doing that iconic celebration. Like he's loved in Madrid, and it's crazy.
yeah, we don't like Bellingham here because obviously we're City and Liverpool fans, and he was linked with both of us. So
Yeah.
we're not going to comment on that.
And linked with United, by the way. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you should never get it. Let's not be silly. You get linked to everybody.
Yeah, I guess so. So, last few questions I have for you, then, mate. Then we can conclude this all. So, what can we expect to see from you this year? Are you going to be streaming? Are you going to be going through, another channel, or what can we expect to see from SRMonkey?
Well, we're doing the podcast every week. Hopefully, we'll get on YouTube at some point. I think we probably would have been already, but Ryan or Haber doesn't like the quality of Zoom when you just put it up there. So we will, be playing around with it. We'll get it live on there at some point. But just continue doing that. I just, I quite enjoy sitting there and having a chat with the guys every week. So
Yeah,
it's good fun.
just playing it by ear then and stuff. And how's the podcast been getting on there? So Ramble.
Yeah, no, it's been doing well. Yeah, I mean, obviously we kicked off last August, so we're about halfway through the season. So now each episode is getting like 500 listens. Yeah, individual listens. I think when last time I checked, we were listened to people in 60 countries, and the show itself gets between 700 and 800 listeners a week. So across all of the historical shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I didn't think we'd get to those sort of numbers. I've done various podcasts for different platforms in the past and never got close to those sort of numbers. But yeah, so it's good. But obviously, it's a slightly older audience, I think, with podcasts like YouTube is where it's at for sort of the younger guys. So, once we get on there, I guess the numbers will probably increase a bit as well.
Yeah, great. Well, you're doing really well with it. So, I had one last little question. That was from our previous guest, which was Jack P. But Jonesy, mate, did you have anything else you wanted to chat about?
No, I think I've got everything covered. All my questions are down. Obviously, we've done the quiz. It's been a nice episode. I can't remember Jack P's question, actually. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, I've got it all here, mate. Yeah, I'm organised.
Okay,
all right.
At least one of us are prepared,
Oh, what is wrong with you? Anyway, so Jack P's question to you was, and take in mind he didn't know who was coming on. If you can go back in time to when you first started Sorare, with the knowledge you have today, what would you have done differently?
With the knowledge I have today, I would have bought, every Bellingham card when it first came onto the platform. And if you're sort of being realistic, then I think probably like a lot of people else, I probably would have tried to buy more super rares earlier on. Yeah. The trouble is that when I joined, the prices, it was post Gary V boom, but I still would have tried to have bought more super rares than limiteds. With limiteds, I find, I generally always have a balance. It may not be massive. So if I see a limited card that I want, I just buy him, or put a bid on the auction or whatever. If I want a rare card, sometimes I can buy them, but if they're really good cards, I have to save up. Yeah. Super rares, you generally have to save a bit more. So it's just a patience factor, I think, with me.
Yeah. Jonathan, did you not have, I swear you had questions about Cap 240 or anything like that you wanted to ask before we conclude? Or do you know?
Yeah, I was going to ask it. I do always ask this question, and it's gone off my screen. But it's what is your strategy for Cat 240? Because it's the most played game mode. And I think that's probably what people want to hear is what the sort of expert strategies are for the Cat 240 game mode, whether it be in limited, rare, or super rare. What is your strategy?
I guess it's a bit easier for me because having a bigger gallery just makes playing capped so much easier. Often I'll have players coming back from injuries or stuff like that. So, I think the easiest way to play it is to sort of, have more options. So in terms of strategy, yeah, you always want to, go with a forward that's probably more goal dependent or something like that. But I think having more options, like, I've heard people mention, oh, you can just buy 5 cards and play capped. Well, you can't, because if you do well, then those players are going to be too high for capped anyway.
Exactly.
So having options of players that are doing well, keeping an eye on which players are coming back from injuries, future L15s, zero L15s is a way to go. I think that one of the things I do is I try and keep an eye on players that are coming back from injuries and are going to have zero L15s. And if you can find a few of those players, then it makes it playing it a lot easier. But
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good answer. We do ask that to every guest, to be fair, don't we? And we get a lot of different responses on how people play caps. It's a good question.
It's intriguing because obviously varying different size galleries as well, isn't it? So, but yeah. So if that's everything, I would like to conclude, mate, with your question you might have for the next guest.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, sod it. I'll go with the kill, marry, shag one. Why not? It's one that's a bit more light-hearted.
Go on.
Kill, marry, shag. Carlos Gil, Joshua Kimmich, or Bellingham.
I like that. That's good.
I love that one, and I'm going to propose that to that next person. I'm going to say it's a very serious question, and then I'm going to say it. So that's brilliant. But anyway, guys, is that everything from your end? Anyone got anything else to discuss or anything like that they want to talk about? Get off your chest.
No, not at all. No. Just
Lovely
thank you
job,
very
Will.
much for having me on.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. It's been really, really good. But this has been All Around So Rare podcast, guys. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, leave 5 stars on the Spotify, please. Go check out myself at Capital So Rare Jonesy, and SorareMonkey, as well as the So Rare Ramble podcast. And that has been us, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. And there we go.